Hello! So today we're going to look at how to make a money origami ring. And you can make this with bills of different denominations, or you can make it with a piece of paper which is cut about roughly the shape of a bill that tends to be about 6 inches long by about 2 3/4 inches high. And it doesn't need to be these exact measurements, it just needs to be roughly that kind of a rectangle shape to be able to get this to fit. And the shape that we're making looks like this. It's going to be a squarish gem part and then the ring part, and there is some kinds of adjustments you can do, but not very much because you're restricted by the bill. And then if you're using a bill, you can get the denomination value to be in that, which makes it a little prettier. I did tape this one because you need really sharp creases, and I just made this so it hasn't had time to sit yet. But if you give it time to crease, it'll stay. I just made that one, and that does crease well. It also depends on the kind of paper that you're using. So let's see if I can get past my cattail, because my cat, of course, has decided to lay down right on top of everything while I'm working on it, which is okay. This is what Zuzu does. All right, Zuzu. So I'm going to go slowly, and you want to do sharp creases with every step because all of these things need to lock together. So to start with, you're going to fold the edge, just a little white part down. If you're working on a piece of paper, it doesn't have a white part, but just fold a small amount down. How you even say that? Probably the half the width of a pinky about, but it's not exact. Just fold a little bit over. This is just to adjust the shape a little so that it's a little narrower. So it doesn't matter exactly. Just try to get it as straight as you can. Alright. I'm going to give that a strong crease. Thank you, kitty. You can use a coin or your fingernail or a spoon, anything else you have on hand to do the creasing with. I know it's going to be hard to get this to be exactly parallel. Just do the best that you can. Alright, so again, this is something where if you take a little time to make it nice and sharp, it will help, but if you don't do it very sharp, then you can still get the rough idea of the ring. Alright, so you get the top and the bottom creased. Now we're going to fold this over in half. So we're going to take this and fold the top down so that it lines up with the bottom. And I tend to give a starting spot in the middle and then slide my fingers out to the left and to the right. Thank you, sweetie. And then just crease that nice and sharp. Sweetie. Sweetie, what is up with you? Alright, here, I'll move the rings over here off this side. How's that? Is that better? And now we're going to fold this in half again, lengthwise. So I'm going to take this, fold this over in half. Now, usually it's her head part that's over here causing trouble. And before, when I was folding those two starter ones to be able to show and tell for you, she was over here swatting at them incessantly. So I suppose I should be grateful that she is laying down and it's only her tail that is going left and right now. All right, sweetie. All right, get that nice and sharp. So this is the band of the ring. So however wide that is going to be how wide the band is on your finger. So next what we're going to do is make the gem part, which is a square, on a plain piece of origami paper. It doesn't really matter how big or small the square is in a display kind of sense. If you're using a bill, then you often have a number in that corner. So I'm going to make the square around this 50 so that it shows the 50. If you have a 1, there's often a 1 there, and depending on what kind of bill you use. It could be the bills that you use don't have anything at all there, it's just decorative, and that's fine too. So I'm going to fold this side over behind and this side over behind. What we're going to do is try to make that into a display gem. Now I will note, whatever you have in there, whether it's an abstract design or just colors or something, this space needs to be wide enough for that to fit through, because part of how this locks is that this is going to fold through the middle of that space. So think about that when you're folding, that this width here needs to fit in onto that space. So I'm going to fold this left side over. And I suppose I will also note that this side part that's folding over is also going to be part of the locking mechanism. So don't make that like super skinny, because then it won't have enough paper there to be able to do the lock. Give it a little bit of locking material, and then we're going to fold over on the other side. So we're making a square-ish shape. It's going to be a little more of a rectangle, and we need to make sure that this is got the size that this is going to be able to slide into there. So that does right now. All right, so we've got the gem part with a little locking tab on this side and the start of the ring circle over here on this side. And especially this locking tab, give that a nice sharp crease so that it's going to be able to hold. And this side, it doesn't matter as much, but... Alright, sorry about that. I had a misadventure with the cat and they ran off with the other bill ring, but that's okay. We've got it all sorted out. So what we are is we have the gem part that has one part folded down on one side and the long piece on the other side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half, about halfway across the gem. It doesn't matter exactly where it is. You might make it bigger or smaller because of your ring size, so we're just getting a rough starting point here to figure this out for your body and your hands. And once we get that starting point, then we're going to fold this down at a 90-degree angle around that crease line. And again, it doesn't need to be exact right now because we are just figuring out how this is going to work for your finger. And now if we take this, looking from the top, we're going to make a loop around. This is the actual ring shape for the ring of the construction that we're doing here. And what you want is this triangle area here where it makes the fold down to end up behind the gemstone. So we got this rectangular gemstone, we got this ring shape, and it's going to be behind it because this is going to go through the gem and it's going to lock the ring in place. So again, you can see that might be big enough for a finger, it might be too small for a finger, so this might be the step where you have to go back and make it a little longer or a little shorter to be able to fit if you want to actually wear this. So once you get this adjusted so that you get it at the right circle amount to fit on the finger that you want it to fit, now we're going to open up the gem a little bit and see how this long part is right underneath where the gem is. We're going to fold this up through the middle, and this is why we needed to make sure that the gem was wide enough to hold that tail part, because that's what's going to hold it. This little tab is going to lock around that, and this tail is going to now go through the center of the ring. Alright, so the tail goes in there. A little bit of wiggling to get it down into there. And give it a nice crease so it's going to hold. Alright, so now we got a little bit more of a tail. And we've got this inner part of the gem. That's the gem part there. And so there's a little bit of hollow in there. And we're going to stuff the rest of this tail back underneath the gem. And we're going to take the gem's tab in here and lock that in place. So again, this is where if you make very sharp creases, everything will hold, because you've got this tail that's up through the middle that will hold that part in place, and you've got this little tab over here on the side. If you're having some issues, you can use tape or glue or something like that, but it should be able to lock if you have the time to make very sharp creases. And I have a little bit of tail sticking out because I wrapped it very tight so that I can fit everything into this demo. But if you made the ring a little bigger, then there'd be less tail up here, and the tail would sit right behind the gemstone, and so on. So you can make this bigger or smaller. All right, so you see there's a ring there. There is the gemstone shape there. See, so I could have made this a little bigger, and then the tail would have been a little deeper down in here because there would have been more use of the bill and going around in the circle shape. But you can see that with some cases with the bills, you can get the denomination to show up on the gem part. With some denominations, it won't work. And if you're using just a piece of paper, then the piece of paper will just have a abstract design, or you could draw something on there. Let's see if I can get those to stay. Nope, nope. All right, well, in any case, you see how that works? Let me know if you have any questions about making a money origami or a regular origami ring.